Jenny Mercer always said houses talk if you learn their quiet language. She and her husband Cal had spent 2 years listening to cracked radiators, humming refrigerators, and the soft hush of Chicago snow sliding off slate roofs. They wanted a child, but first they wanted silence, real, country silence, so they fled the city for the crooked heart of rural Illinois. The realtor called the place Maple House, an 1890s queen enwrapped in peeling white shingles, sitting alone at the end of a gravel lane so long the dust took 5 minutes to settle after your car passed. The price was stupidly low. Needs TLC. The listing cooed, but what old house doesn't? Inside smelled of cedar and camphor, heartwood floors bowed like gentle waves. Every room carried a faint electrical tingle, the way the air tastes before lightning. The attic hatch was painted shut. The basement stays curled down into a darkness that swallowed flashlight beams. Jenny loved it immediately. Cal, 6'3", a man who installed rooftop satellite dishes for a living, pretended bravery, but she saw his pupils flare when the wind sighed through cracked window panes like breath through teeth. They closed on a Thursday. On Friday, the previous owner, ancient, smelling of lavender and something coppery, handed over a single key and a yellowed baby monitor. "Keep it," she rasped. "Signal's strong." Then she drove off in a Bic the color of spoiled milk, leaving tread marks that looked, to Jenny, like Morse code. The master bedroom faced the driveway, the nursery across the hall a perfect cube of afternoon sun. They hadn't painted yet. The crib wouldn't arrive for weeks. Still, Jenny set the baby monitor on the mantelpiece because she liked old things with dials. The unit was chunky, cream plastic browned like a smoker's fingernail. One speaker, one red LED, one curved antenna that reminded her of a bee's stinger. Graco 1994. The label read, but the plastic felt older, almost greasy. They plugged it in. The red light blinked twice, then burned steady. A hush of white noise spilled out, oceanic, infinite. Cal joked it was the sound inside his head whenever corporate asked why he hadn't hit quota. They cooked stir-fry on a camp stove, drank cheap Malbec, made love on an air mattress that squeaked like mice. At 11:07 p.m. the monitor crackled and the breathing started. Not theirs, too light, too measured, like a child imitating sleep to fool a parent. Jenny sat up. "Did you hear?" Cal was already snoring. She tiptoed across the hall. The nursery was empty, dust motes drifting through moonlight. She returned. The breathing had stopped the instant she crossed the threshold. The lead flickered, then settled. She told herself old houses sigh, old radios pick up truckers, maybe even baby breath from some distant cordless unit. She slept. Next evening they painted the nursery sage green. Cal's shoulders burned from rolling. Jenny's hair carried streaks the color of moss. They collapsed at 10. At 2:46 the monitor sang. A lullaby, 3 notes, descending, then up a perfect fourth, like a music box winding down. Jenny knew every song she would ever sing to a child. This wasn't one. She nudged Cal. "You humming?" He grunted, half-conscious. The lullaby repeated, slower, each note bending microtonally, the way vinyl warps under attic heat. She recorded on her phone. Playback captured only hiss. She deleted it. Morning brought contractors, sunlight, ordinary hammers. They forgot the song. The digital clock flipped to 3:07 when the voice arrived. "Shush, Mommy's almost here." Jenny's heart slammed once, like a fist on a locked door. She grabbed Cal's wrist so hard he yelped. "Tell me you heard that." His eyes said yes. They stared at the monitor. Red LED steady, antenna trembling as if caught in breeze though the window was closed. They crossed the hall together. The nursery door stood open. Jenny distinctly remembered shutting it. Inside, temperature plummeted, their breath plumed. The mobile above the yet empty crib spun lazily, plastic stars clacking. No wind, no vent, no logical talk. Cal reached to stop it. The moment his fingers brushed a star, the monitor in their bedroom shrieked, full-volume static that rattled the dresser mirror. Simultaneously, every light in Maple House flared, then died. Darkness drank color. Cell phone flashlights revealed the monitor had leapt from the mantel to the center of the rug, antenna bent sideways, red LED pulsing like a heartbeat. Jenny felt something else, the unmistakable charge of a presence watching, delighted by their fear. They fled to the driveway, called 911 from the cold. Sheriff arrived 40 minutes later, found nothing, breakers merely tripped. Mobile motionless. Monitor back on mantel, antenna straight, humming polite static. Deputy wrote faulty wiring in a little notebook, advised a licensed electrician. Jenny saw him cross himself as he. They spent the remainder of night in a Motel 6 off I-55, TV flickering infomercials. Cal chain smoking though he'd quit years ago. At dawn, Jenny insisted they return for clothes. The monitor be damned. She would throw it in the pond beyond the fields. Inside, the nursery smelled of wet paper. On the crib sheet lay a rectangle of construction paper, edges scalloped by safety scissors. Crayon letters, purple, still warm to touch. Thanks for the new doll. I'll keep her forever. Jenny's knees buckled. Cal grabbed the note. The paper folded itself into an origami iris, then flattened again, as if demonstrating dexterity. They ran. They hired an electrician, a pastor, and a Wi-Fi technician. Each blamed the others. Jenny, a university librarian before the move, possessed research blood. She drove to county records, discovered Maple House's first owner, Dr. Horace L. Verger, pediatric surgeon, 1891 to 1934. Malpractice rumors, experimental surgeries on orphans, though nothing proven. He'd hanged himself in the attic on October 13, 1934. The rope snapped. He bled out for hours, humming lullabies to the rafters. Jenny photographed newspaper microfilm, a blurred shot of Verger's face, thin lips curved into what might have been remorse or amusement. She shivered. She next visited the lavender-scented previous owner, Mrs. Alma Witt, now in a retirement villa. Alma's eyes filmed over when Jenny mentioned the monitor. I never had children, she whispered. The house borrowed them. She pressed a cassette into Jenny's hand, refused to say more. Back at Motel 6, Cal produced an old Walkman from his truck. The tape label read 307 in Alma's shaky script. They pressed play. White noise, then distant children singing the descending lullaby. A man's voice, Werner, counts backwards from 10. At 0, a child giggles and says, "Your turn." The tape ends with abrupt silence that feels like suction. Jenny's phone buzzed. 3:07 p.m., though it was noon. Battery icon blinked, then showed 100% charge though it had been at 22. Running costs money. Their savings were bleeding. Cal wanted to sell. Jenny feared the house would simply wait for the next fertile couple. She proposed one night, armed with EMF readers, crucifix, salt, and a dual-channel Baber monitor to trace frequencies. If they captured evidence, they could petition diocese, news, anybody. Cal agreed, but packed a .38 revolver though bullets cannot kill absence. They entered at dusk. The house felt inflated, walls drum-tight. They placed the new monitor's parent unit on the kitchen island, the old Verger unit in the nursery. Jenny livestreamed to a private YouTube link so footage autosaved in cloud. 10:12 p.m., nothing .11:58. Temperature in nursery dropped 10 degrees .01:13. Lullaby leaked from both monitors, synchronized .02:46. Red LED on old unit began strobing 13 times, pausing, repeating .02:59. Jenny felt her uterus clench, as if an invisible fist promised fertility .03:06. A second voice, Jenny's own future voice, older, cracked, whispered from the parent unit, "Don't look at the crib." 3:07. Static roared, then parted like curtains. Through the nursery doorway they saw not the empty crib but a corridor, Victorian wallpaper, gas lamps, rows of small iron beds. Children in hospital gowns turned their heads in perfect unison. Each child lacked facial features, smooth skin like unmarred porcelain. At the far end stood Dr. Verger, neck grotesquely elongated, head tilted under attic rafters that shouldn't fit inside the nursery geometry. He raised a scalpel. Children opened mouthless faces and sang the three-note lullaby. Cal lifted the revolver, fired. Muzzle flash illuminated the corridor like lightning, but bullets vanished without report. The house swallowed sound. Jenny felt paper-thin fingers slide into her palm. She looked down. A small girl, eyes stitched shut, offered the crayon note. This time it read, "Trade." She understood. The house wanted occupancy, a child to replace those Verger lost. It would settle for promise. Jenny, sobbing, shouted not ours. Not ever. She grabbed the old monitor, hurling it down the phantom corridor. It spun, antenna striking Verger's forehead. The image tore like wet fabric, corridor folding into itself, sucking sound, light, odor. Silence. The nursery was again four walls, empty crib. The old monitor lay smoking, plastic cracked, revealing not circuitry but tiny teeth arranged like piano keys. They bled. They fled. The livestream saved, yet footage shows only static after 3:05. YouTube flagged it content repetition. They listed Maple House next morning, price slashed. Offers arrived within hours, all from childless couples who, Jenny noticed, shared Verge's thin-lipped half-smile in their profile photos. She rejected each. Finally, a nunnery offered cash. Closing occurred in absentia. Jenny signed at lawyer's office, refusing to return. 6 months later, Jenny discovered she was pregnant, conceived, doctors said, the very week of the corridor. She and Cal both felt twin dread and fierce protectiveness. They moved to Seattle, high-rise, no attic, no nursery yet. Night before delivery, insomnia led Jenny to browse baby monitors. An ad popped up, vintage Graco, signals strong, make an offer. Photo showed the same unit, antenna straight, red LED steady. Listing location, your nearby. She slammed the laptop. Cal unplugged every device in the apartment. At 3:07 a.m. their phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number, a single audio file. They did not play it. They threw phones down the trash chute. Still, from the neighbor's unit across the airshaft, faint white noise began, oceanic, infinite. Then the lullaby, slower, closer. Jenny clutched her belly, felt the baby kick in 3-note rhythm. She whispered the only lullaby that matters. Hush now, you are ours, not his. For now, that is enough. But somewhere, in some quiet house at the end of a long gravel lane, the monitor waits, antenna trembling, lead pulsing, because signals, once birthed, search forever for receptive hearts. And at 3:07, the voice in the static always says, "Shush, Mommy's almost here."